Around 18 months ago, me and my friends at school went into the mock tests of year 11 in England. And unfortunately, I had a really stuffy nose. I was really unwell for 2 months prior, and now still at this point. I was sitting there breathing, if you know what I'm saying. We were sitting in the test hall, I couldn't breathe, I was asking for a tissue, and the reason I remember this specific maths paper in general is because my friend was at the front, and he turned around and started laughing at me. Because I was so ill, and he wasn't. He hadn't been ill yet. And it was crazy because I'd been ill for 2 months straight. The only time I had a break was in that October half-term period. The rest of the time I was ill. And you know, the reason I know that these next methods that I'm about to teach you actually work is because I went from being ill for 4 months straight to not being ill since. I am not kidding you. And the way I did this is with 3 very simple strategies to increase my testosterone. So if you also want to increase your testosterone and become completely immune to any sort of bacterial diseases, just as I am, then make sure to follow these 3 simple tips that I'm going to give you in just a short second. The first tip I'd like to give you is stop eating so much damn sugar, because sugar makes you want to crave food. It makes you want to eat more and more and more sugar. And guess what happens when you eat sugar, my friend? Your energy, well, you already know it crashes. But it doesn't just crashes in the tone like this, right, and goes level again. It crashes and goes lower. And your testosterone and energy are very closely correlated. That's why perhaps you feel energetic and, you feel a lack of energy. That's probably why. Your testosterone is low and you feel low energy. They link up together. People with high energy probably have higher testosterone. And that's not a coincidence because energy and testosterone are super closely related. Now, when you eat sugar, your levels go up in energy. Well, initially they go down a little bit, then they go up, and then they crash right to the bottom, decreasing that base level to here, and now your testosterone level has also decreased a little bit to here. And because you want to eat more sugar in half an hour, or drink more sugar in half an hour, it's going to slowly throughout the day begin to decrease exponentially and drastically at some point too. You're going to go to bed at night with 20 nanograms a deciliter, if you know what I'm saying. And the reason this happens, like I said, is because all of the energy is being used first off to digest the food, and that's the initial part. And then you get the energy boost, and then it goes. And you're going to feel terrible, man. Trust me, if you cut sugar out of your diet completely, your energy will be more of a flat line. And obviously, this means your testosterone is more of a flat line. Obviously, it's not always like this. It's still going to be down to some extent. That's just what happens throughout the day as you actually use some of this energy. But it won't be up, down, up, down, up, down. It will be flat, or relatively flat. And the second thing I'd suggest you is to go outside and get some daylight, my friend. Because if you haven't got daylight today, no wonder you feel like crap. No wonder you feel energeticless and low in testosterone. If you haven't gone outside today, you really should. And if you've already gone outside today, go outside even more. Because vitamin D3 is used to create testosterone. And you need more and more of it from God's gracious gift to us all, the sunlight in the sky. If you look at the sun, then you see it's somewhere in the sky. And if you can't see it behind the clouds, then that's still fine. It's about, I gave an analogy the other day where I said seeing the sun and directly absorbing it on your skin is like a 4x multiplier on Call of Duty. Whereas getting daylight is like a 3x multiplier. And not getting any daylight at all is a 1x multiplier. So it's really not good for you. Actually, it might even be a 0.5 multiplier. It's terrible for you. So the one thing I would suggest, even if you don't want to dodge your diet and dodge your sugar cravings, then at least go out and get some sunlight today, man, because that sunlight's going to genuinely carry you and elevate your mood to such an exponential scale that you would not even believe what would happen if you just sat in solitude for 7 days. Try, get some daylight, my friend. Third and final thing I'm going to suggest to you is exercise, but not any sort of exercise. I'm going to suggest to you one very specific challenge for you, as a matter of fact. Over the next 14 days, I would like you to do 100 push-ups every single day. And I know it sounds daunting, like a really, really tough task, but I promise you, it's not actually as tough as it seems. It's 10 times 10, 20 times 5, 30 times 3, and then a 10. However you look at it, 100 push-ups should be achievable. Maybe if you do 5 times 20, it will take you longer. But you don't have to do these all in one go. You can do them throughout the day. Perhaps you wake up in the morning, do 20 or 30, and then at lunchtime, lunch break, you have a little pause, so you can do 40, maybe 50, and then in the evening you can do more. And if you continue to do this over a long enough time frame, you're going to begin to realise something. First off, you're getting a pump. Second off, your muscles are starting to grow. The reason they're starting to grow is because you're using some of this testosterone that you've already gained from the first 2 things It's called free testosterone because, to put it simply for you, there are two different types of testosterone. There's free testosterone and there's testosterone that's being used right now. And if you have lots of free testosterone inside of you, you might not be feeling the effects of lots of testosterone. You might be feeling the effects of a little amount. Because if I was a man with 1,000 nanograms, but only 100 being used, it'd be worse than if I had 500 and 430 were being used. It's about efficiency as well as how high that number can go. Now, if you have lots of free testosterone, it means you need to work out more. It means you need to do more exercise. Because every time you do pump training, which is essentially what we're doing with push-ups, you're going to gain a pump. The blood's going to flow to it, and it's going to create micro tears. And once you get that pump inside of your muscle, it's actually going to cause some nutrients to come to it. One of those nutrients just so happens to be testosterone that goes in the blood and inside of the endocrine system. And then when your muscle gains more proteins from the foods you eat inside of the blood plasma, I'm sure, somehow it gets there. So when it gets there, it's going to make more muscle, right? Surely it will fill the tears. And now there's new muscle. The new muscle is going to have more androgen receptors because you pumped more blood to it. And then more androgen receptors essentially mean more of that testosterone is getting hooked into the muscle, making the muscle bigger. Androgen receptors are these parts of the muscle that absorb the testosterone and use the free testosterone inside of your blood. And that's like a simple explanation. I'm not going to go into the in-depth scientific analysis on exactly what it is, but that's the simple explanation that you should know. Absolutely everyone should. And therefore, if you're somebody who's maybe looking like you've got low testosterone, it might be because you have loads of free testosterone just running through your veins. You're feeling strong and powerful, but you have nothing to show for it. And maybe all you have to do is 100 push-ups for the next 14 days, perhaps even 1 month. Challenge yourself depending on your skill level. But I'd say 14 days is a minimum. And look how much your physique will change. That's the reason why people on steroids get such big muscles all of a sudden, such big traps, such big legs in particular, because those parts of the bodies have the most androgen receptors. And TRT, too much free testosterone inside of you, you need more androgen receptors, and the androgen receptor sensitivity needs to be up, and therefore you just start absorbing loads and loads and you just make instant progress. Now, this video is not advocating you to go take TRT. This video is to help you increase that testosterone and then use that testosterone powerfully. So, as long as you do all three of these things, you will go from someone who is ill all of the time to someone who is no longer ill. And if you are ill, it's a very, very rare occasion. And the reason I know this is because the months prior, when I wasn't ill, June, July, August, I was doing exactly that. I was getting sunlight, even April and May. I was getting sunlight every day, doing push-ups every day, and I was making sure to eat a little amount of sugar every day, as little as I could. And then I never got unwell. And then all of a sudden, I stopped doing the push-ups. I stopped going outside so much. I started eating worse. I started losing myself in that term of diet because, as a matter of fact, I started eating a very small amount. And when I ate, it wasn't good for me. And therefore, I started to get ill very, very quickly. So make sure to take care of yourself today. Do all of these 3 things. That's a wrap. Take care, my bro.